Taking your questions this week is Colonel Wayne Shanks, Chief of Public Affairs, ISAF. Sir, here's your first question. How will ISAF support the election runoff?
Well, the runoff will be supported in generally the same way that we supported the first election. Okay, we're going to be the third tier of support, or the third level of support. The first level is going to be the Afghan National Police, just like you would in any other civilian police. They're going to be out there walking the beat, working with the people of Afghanistan. The next level, or second level, is going to be the Afghan National Army. They will be supporting the police in their endeavors. And ISAF forces, as a third level, will be supporting any of the ANSF or their security forces in any assistance that they might need for this election.
What will ISAF do differently in a runoff election?
Well, obviously, we looked hard at the operations for the first election and see which pieces worked well, which pieces didn't work quite so well. So we're going to adjust somewhat so to make sure that those pieces that didn't work so well are working better for this time, and the ones that worked well are enhanced and improved upon. Now, I know I'm being a little vague on this particular point, but that's because I don't want to tell our enemy, the insurgents, what pieces are actually we're going to change, so they're going to change their adaptive. Now, exactly the insurgency, it changes their tactics almost daily across Afghanistan, and we are continuing to adapt our operations to counter their operations. And I don't see it changing any for the election. It's just going to be another day here in ISAF. We're going to continue to the security of this nation. Our ISAF, our ANSF, the Afghan forces, will be the lead, and we're in support of them.
For the Afghan election's first round, ISAF supplied additional forces to certain areas. Will the runoff affect ISAF forces' posture or movements around Afghanistan?
Absolutely. One of our major focuses for this particular election will obviously be supporting a successful election, that being it will be safe and secure so the people of Afghanistan can go out and exercise their right to vote. This is a fledgling democracy. We are working to help them, and so they can understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how that we are supporting their efforts in this. This is an Afghan-run, Afghan-led election, and we are here as part of the international community. Obviously, ours is the security part of that community, but the broader international community is helping them to conduct their elections.
Pakistani military officials have faulted ISAF for repositioning forces away from outposts along the border with Pakistan. Does ISAF's abandoning these areas make them more vulnerable for insurgent movement?
Well, Pakistan obviously has a long border with Afghanistan, and we regularly watch what's going on inside of Afghanistan with relation to how it relates to Pakistan. The recent offensive with the Pakistani military into South Waziristan, we're watching that very closely because we want to monitor that to see if any of the situation changes. Now, we have been in a new strategy for the past several months where we are repositioning our forces across Afghanistan, not just the border regions, but all across the country to better protect the people of Afghanistan, because that's the way we see we're going to break this insurgency. If they don't have access to the people, they can't have a successful insurgency. So we're repositioning a few forces. Now, what I think may be misperceived by a few people out there or some of their other news organizations is that during this repositioning we have closed down a couple of outposts. I mean, 3 to be exact to date. 3 outposts in the whole contiguous nation of Afghanistan is relatively insignificant, and these outposts weren't even close to the border. So our posture has remained pretty much unchanged across the border regions with respect to what's going on in Pakistan. And furthermore, the Afghan National Border Police are responsible for the security of the border. ISAF forces don't sit on the border watching that. Now, we are very aware of it. We have outposts that are looking at that, and our forces regularly work with the Afghan forces and the Pakistan forces to coordinate activities across the border where we see we might have an issue or something. In fact, we just had some displaced civilians come across the border, and that was reported through the Afghan authorities. We worked with our international community partners and provided some humanitarian assistance so those civilians could have a warm place to sleep and have some food to eat.
Are you concerned about the situation with the Pakistani offensive?
Absolutely. We are looking at what's going on inside of Pakistan every day. The new offensive in South Waziristan, we are monitoring very closely, and we are working with the Afghan National Border Police, who are responsible for controlling the border, with the other Afghan National Army partners and coordinating activities with those forces that are just on the other side of the border with inside Pakistan. So if there's a situation that may arise, we know about it, and so we can react to it and assume a posture that works for that particular situation. Every situation is going to be different. Not one set situation is going to work for any other pieces and parts of it, but overall, we have a very comfortable feeling that we are protecting that area and in conjunction with the Afghan forces that are actually on the border.
Is pulling out of bases going to affect that situation?
Okay, we have been repositioning forces throughout all of the area, not just along the border. Mainly this has been up in the Nuristan portion, which is not closely related to where the Pakistani military offensive has been going on. It's a little bit north of that area. And we've closed down a total of 3 bases. 1 observation post and 2 combat outposts. It's relatively insignificant in the overall security scheme that's going on, but we're repositioning these forces to better protect the Afghan population, the people of Afghanistan, who is our strategy in order to protect them, remove them from the insurgency.
Who will announce the results of the runoff?
The runoff election will be announced the same way that the general election was. The Independent Election Commission, or the IEC, is the Afghan body that is responsible for the conduct of the elections, and they will announce the results.
Sir, is there anything else you would like to add?
Well, I think that you will see that the conduct of this upcoming election will be done in a professional manner with our Afghan partners, and we will make it so that the Afghan people can come out and exercise their right to vote. I think that's one of our key priorities during this whole situation, and you will see that throughout the land of Afghanistan, we are continuing to improve our processes and try to bring that safety and security to the Afghan people.